So all week I have been wrestling with my thoughts on what the final verdict or score is going to be on Orbits. And I've decided Orbit is a racing game for 2 to 4 travel-hardened explorers. Actually, I feel maybe I should call the game by its full name, Orbital Race Between Interstellar Tourists. Setup is quite simple. Throw the board in the middle of the table, choosing one of the 2 sides. One side's a little easier, so they recommend starting with the side that simply has the orbits all being the same pattern. But then you just randomly throw out these beautiful, chunky wooden planet meeple things. I guess they don't really count as meeples, but they're nice and wooden and printed on one side, and they look fantastic. And randomly throw out these space stations on the marked spots on the board, give each player 3 cards, and then have them take a player board and place a planet token on each one of the matching spaces along the top. And if you're feeling extra sassy, you can put this white space station on there, which is an expansion module that comes in the base game, and I recommend using that. It's fun, it just makes the game a touch longer and doesn't really hurt anything. And plus, it comes with its own, wooden little space station thing. It's kind of cool. And the goal of the game is simple. It's to get your spaceship to reach all the planets and then get back home to your home color planet. So the blue player has to end on the blue planet, yellow player, yellow planet, purple player, purple planet. There isn't a purple player. Gotcha. And here lies the beauty of this game. It's simplicity. You almost don't even have to teach it. You can just start playing. It's that simple. On a player's turn, they will play a card from their hand. And each card can have up to 3 features. Every card will have a number that is the player's movement. And you can move up to that many spaces. So in this case, I can move up to 1 space. I know that sounds kind of silly, but I could choose not to move if I didn't want to. And there are times when you may not want to move. And then underneath that number is a picture of a planet. That forces the player to move that planet a number of spaces equal to the number of pictured planets. So in this case, I would move the purple planet 1 space. So I would just move this guy to its next space. And then the middle icon here shows a battery. And that will give the players power cubes. What are they called? Energy cubes. And the battery symbols will give the players energy cubes. This one in particular will give me 3 battery cubes. However, in the beginning of the game, you can only store 2 of them. And if you notice above that number 3, that is your hand limit. And both of those elements can be increased during the game. In this case, I would just take my 2 energy cubes and place them on my player board. And all 3 of those features can be resolved in any order you choose. However, you do have to fully resolve one of them before moving on to the next feature to activate it. But instead of that battery feature on the cards, some of them will have these little arrows, and those will allow you to change the direction that a planet is moving, which can be super handy at times. So that way that orange planet would move this way instead of that way, which is totally awesome for the blue player, because the blue player where he is now, if the orange planet moves here, it's 1, 2, 3 spaces away. However, the way it was moving, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces away. So changing the direction of the planets can be super powerful at times. I'd like to pause for just a minute and mention this was a review copy provided by the publisher. However, the thoughts and opinions of it are my own. Click that subscribe button, leave a comment, blah, 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 all the YouTube stuff that no one does. So in this case, I moved my purple planet. Maybe I don't want to move the 1 space, but you know what? I think I will move the 1 space. I moved my ship 1 space, and 1 space is defined as the intersection points on this board. So, I mean, from here to here, there's like 1,000 spaces. Okay, not 1,000, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 26. 26 spaces, if I counted correctly, and I suspect I didn't. Let's count them again. 1, 2, 5, 26, 27. There are 27 spaces. I might keep that in post because it's kind of funny that I'm just stupid and couldn't count. Anyways, this brings me to the power cubes. I moved 1 space. Didn't seem like it did much, but I'm going to spin a power cube to move an extra space. And that will move me right here to the space station. And each one of these space stations out here give you little perks. For instance, this one will increase my hand limit size. So I will put that on my player board here. covers up to 3. Now the lowest number visible on my player board is 4. I have finished my turn. Now I will draw back up to my hand limit of what is now 4 cards. And having more cards at your disposal is quite powerful in this game because it sort of helps eliminate the luck of the draw. Granted, there is a lot of luck in this game. There is. However, there are ways to mitigate it. And I know too, the board seems like it would take forever to go from one end to the other, but you can jump on these planets and then use them as almost like a quick travel. So say it's my next turn, maybe I will play this card here. This has a movement of 2, and this symbol here is kind of like a wild symbol, meaning that I can move any one of the planets 1 space. And notice there isn't a middle feature. I don't get any batteries or anything like that, but still being able to move any planet of your choice is quite powerful. So maybe I'll play this and maybe I will move first. 1, 2, I put myself back on the blue planet and then I move the blue planet to its next space on the blue planet's orbit track. And now I am 2 spaces away from that space station that I need to get to. So that's totally sweet. I can probably reach it next turn. But some of the cards will move the same planet 2 spaces, like this one here has 2 green planets, so that would move the green planet all the way from here to there. Like, that's such a huge move. 9 spaces. None of these cards move you 9 spaces. At most, they move you 4. Most of the time, they move you like 2. And there are even cards that will move all the planets, which is totally chaos, but like in a fun way. And it's kind of funny too, when one of your opponents is just 1 or 2 spaces away from a planet and you play a card moving that planet further away from them, just to watch the look on their face until it happens to you. Then it's less funny, but it's still funny and it's just a fun game. And you may have noticed some of these blue portal things on there, and they work exactly how you think they work. If I end my turn on one of these portals, I can go to another portal anywhere on the board. Another way to fast travel. So yes, the board does seem huge. However, there are actually ways to shrink it, so to speak, in order to allow yourself to travel much more quickly across this vast universe on your gaming table or kitchen table or on the floor. I don't know where you play your games. But the space stations and the planets that you land on will give you those perks, such as increasing your hand limits and increasing your battery storage. And there's just a couple more icons on your player board. This little guy here, when you reach the gray planet, you can spend that token immediately to do a fast travel to land on one of the other portals. This symbol is the hyper accelerator cannon, and that allows you to just shoot in a straight line from where you are. So if I was the blue dude here, I could just go and actually end my turn on a portal, my movement on a portal, and then portal over here. And that's pretty much orbits. That's all there is to know. That's all you have to teach. And you can just get going really quick and have a lot of fun. Moving planets far away from your frenemies. It's cool. It's cool, I like it. Oh, and the space station, it doesn't move. It's just like a stationary spot that y'all gotta get to. So all week, I have been wrestling with my thoughts on what the final verdict or score is going to be on Orbits, or Orbit, it's singular. And I've decided to give it a 4.5 out of 5. And I'll tell you why. I feel like overall, the game is an okay design. It's a good design, I guess. It's fine, it's fine. However, I have had so much fun playing this game. I have had much more fun with this game than I really should have been having, I think, from a gameplay perspective. But we'll get to the fun factor in just a moment. So the production on this game is absolutely amazing. The wooden planets look great. They're printed on one side and they look really fantastic as they're moving around the board. The board looks great too, both sides of the board, which is cool because the one side has like branching orbits or tracks, paths that the planets will go on. And the art by Vincent Dutray on everything looks out of this world. Pun intended on that one. And even the cards all have slightly varying art depending on the value of the card. Say a 1 versus a 3. The 3 will have like the spaceship flying all around the planet as to where the 1 will just have the spaceship flying towards the planet. Neat little touch. The player boards are nice, big, chunky cardboard. They display your planet tokens on there just fine. Plenty of room for stuff. Plenty of room to put your energy cubes as you get them. The cards are a great quality. They shuffle well. They have a nice linen finish. They do feel like they're going to hold up pretty well. And they have a white border around them too, which is pretty cool because it will keep the corners from being marked or showing wear square as easy. Back to the board though, I do kind of wish that the board maybe was a little bit bigger. That would kind of suck because it would take up even more space on a table. Not that this game's a table hog, but it does take up a good portion of a table. But it would be easier for like us fat fingers when moving the spaceships around. Or I have noticed that sometimes when two planets get really close to each other, like they almost touch, and it kind of makes things look a little hazy at first if you're not real familiar with exactly the board layout and all the spacing. But I guess you can kind of mitigate that issue by just counting your movement prior to moving with your finger, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then move your ship to that location. Probably best to do that anyways, but I do kind of wish the board was a little bit bigger and had a little more space, or just the overall scale of the board. But the ships, they're fine. They're nice plastic little molded ships. They stack well because you can end your movement on top of another player, so you can stack them up. And it's kind of funny too. I've seen many games where players would end up stacking up on, say, one planet, and then there's like 2 or 3 spaceships stacked on one planet, and players are playing that card, zip, 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 moving that planet around almost like it's a trolley or something, with the other ships just jumping off here and there. And I will say, for a game that it just has the same objective every time you play it, go to all the planets, end on your own color, I've seen a lot of games kind of play out a little differently, or kind of fun, quirky little things happen that didn't happen in your previous games, such as all the ships riding on the same planet. But the rulebook is clear, the game is very easy to teach, and it probably only takes about 40 minutes, maybe, your first game, and then you can just play again. Your next game will only take about a half hour, and it's a fun half hour. It's a fun 45 minutes. I don't want to say it's a filler game. I feel like it's a scotch more than that, but it's really easy to get to the table. And that's another reason why I'm giving it such a high score, is it plays good at 2, it's fine at 2, plays good at 3, plays great at 4. The cool thing about the 2-player game is you can be moving, it's easier to move other planets to hurt your other player if you don't have a good move yourself. So it's not really like a take that thing. It's just kind of like you're buying yourself more time. Oh, they're really close to the red planet. Better play this card, move the red planet away from them. But again, there are ways to shrink that large board, so to speak, metaphorically, like using those portals to jump from one space to the other. So things that seem like they could be nearly impossible to travel to one location in a turn or two, if you're able to get your energy storage up and you have like 4 energy cubes in your tank, and you're able to play the right card, maybe to move 2 spaces and move all the planets, and if you're able to move 2 planets closer together and then use your energy cubes plus moving the planets like another 6 spaces each, it's really easy to make those connections happen, and it's super satisfying when you do. But it's so accessible, yet there's strategies to it that make you feel clever when you pull them off. I feel like this could kind of be maybe one of my new gateway games to introduce players who are less familiar to the hobby. Because really, just playing the cards with the numbers to move, that's almost like a glorified roll and move game, and everyone's familiar with that. And then you just throw in Halfton to move the planet, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, you have the batteries and maybe rotating the direction of the planet. That's really it. You can really teach this game in like 90 seconds. So in conclusion, I feel like I used to be kind of like a game snob, and you would have to have like this really amazing game, like a SETI or Revive for, you know, like newer stuff to get like a really high score. Like those games are 10s to me. They are. But I feel like this game, the game design is good. I've had so much fun playing this game, and I'm always down to play it at all player counts. And that's why I'm going to give this one a 4.5 out of 5. It's just my new jam. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. No regrets, no apologies. Anyways, thanks for watching another episode of Rolling with the Beard.